let's talk about soil. Soil is a natural habitat for many plants and animals. Just 1 tablespoon of dirt has more organisms than there are people on the planet. Crazy, right? Soil is also the staple of agriculture. Fruits and vegetables are grown in soil, and the food provided for animals is also provided from soil. In short, soil is a very important natural resource. Sadly, despite soil being such an important resource, it is often destroyed without regard. For example, in commercial farming, an excessive use of herbicides, pesticides, and fertilizers can cause pollution. The simple act of tossing a cigarette out the window, or large corporations irresponsibly getting rid of waste, has the same result: a sicker earth. On the topic of pollution, I would also like to talk about water waste and contamination. You've probably all seen the covers of magazines of an ocean filled with plastic as far as you can see. Some may think, that's so far away. But in reality, a recent study done by the United States Environmental Protection Agency found that nearly 1/3 of our streams and rivers and one half of our lakes are contaminated and unfit for drinking. Crazy, right? But it's not just pollution doing all the damage. Water waste is also an issue. Think about it. How many times have you left the sink running while you're brushing your teeth, or taken an excessively long shower? We must do what we can to preserve the natural resources that we have while we still have them. Okay, so I know some of you are thinking, so what can I do to help? There are many things that we can do as citizens to help protect and conserve our natural resources. To start, we can do basic things like turn off the water while we're brushing our teeth, or avoid washing laundry until we have a full load. Other things that we can do is recycle and reuse the items that we have. This prevents items from going back into the landfill. We can also help by shopping smart and supporting local farms and sustainable businesses. I encourage you all to start small and implement these tips I've shared with you. We have the power to shape our world for the future. Let's make our future generations proud. After all, soil and water, it's ours for life.
When you brush your teeth, do you keep the water on or turn it off? When you wash your hands, do you keep the water on or turn it off?
When you ask you to speak up because I've got ringing in my ears and the blower's competing with your voice, so can you just raise your volume?
And if you're okay with it, you can take your mask off while you're speaking.
Yeah, that will help definitely.
When you brush your teeth, do you keep the water on or turn it off? When you wash your hands, do you keep the water on or turn it off? When you do the dishes, do you keep the water on or turn it off? You might want to turn it off. If you keep the water running for all of these, you're wasting about 28 gallons of water every time you do them, which is like 1 to 2 full-size kitchen sinks of water wasted every day. You might be asking, why is water so important? Water is vital, and we have to have fresh water to live. As the population grows, people use more water. According to the Water Footprint Calendar, water use will grow 40% by 2030. Water is essential because it has earth-like properties. Chemicals that are in water make it important for living organisms to have. Water is also one of the only things that can exist as a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Water is used to grow food, manufacture goods, and keep our businesses running. The EPA states the average family uses more than 300 gallons of water per day, which is like 6 to 7 bathtubs of water that people use every day. 70% of that water occurs indoors. Droughts affect water each year. Water might go up in the atmosphere and not come back down for a while. That is why we have to preserve it. So here's some ways you can. Make sure you don't have a leaky faucet. Don't overwater your lawn or garden. When it rains, you can use rain barrels, so then when you need to water your garden, you can use the rainwater. Only water areas need to be watered by using hand watering techniques. The world supply of clean water involves soil. Water that falls on the ground like rain or snow is then transferred straight to lakes, rivers, and oceans by soil. As the water is getting transferred through the soil, it cleans the water like a filter. So without soil, water would not be able to filter itself. Some soils can become hydrophobic, which means the soil would repel the water and then the soil would dry out. Water and soil are natural resources that we cannot live without. That is why we have to preserve them for our well-being. Watering practices not only conserve water, but also help plants. Plants need water to live, and they also need soil to live, and that's where I get into soil conservation. Soil conservation is land use that helps soil against depletion, erosion, natural or human factors. The more land we use disturbs the soil's natural form, then in turn has a greater effect on soil. Plants need soil to help grow, and we need plants for food and oxygen. Soil exchanges gases with the atmosphere, which impacts climate. According to the Ecological Society of America, carbon can remain stored in soils for millennia or be quickly released back into the atmosphere. Climatic conditions, natural vegetation, soil texture, and drainage all affect the amount of time carbon is stored. Also, how long soil stores the carbon depends upon the yield of soil, which means preserving and restoring is even more important. Healthy soil is the foundation for food, animal feed, and fuel, and they all come from soil. Soil conservation helps more than soil. It helps the environment. It also helps restore habitats for wildlife and plants. It protects natural resources and watersheds. Soil also improves water quality and also makes soil itself healthier. Now here are some ways you can conserve soil. Planting grasses to prevent erosion. Make sure ditches, streams, and creeks are cleaned out so water can flow properly and not flood, which causes erosion. Don't litter. If you litter, it can cause clogged drain pipes, clog ditches and streams, and also hurt animals. Use no-till farming practices, which is where you don't till the land and it prevents soil erosion. Improve soil quality by picking out plants that improve organic matter. One more thing you can do is use organic fertilizer on plants and grasses. We all need soil and water to live. Soil and water work together every day. Without soil, we would not have water. Without water, we would not have soil. Remembering to turn the water off when you brush your teeth, wash your hands, and do the dishes saves a little every day for our water, our soil, and our future generations. Thank you.
I have a question for everyone. How much water do you use in a day? How many things in your household were grown or made from the soil on this earth? Not only that, but how much of that water that you use in a day just goes to waste? How many of those products, food, or materials that were grown in that soil do you just throw out and leave for the dump? You probably don't know the answer to those questions, do you? Well, I'm here today to inform you more about why soil and water are important. Only 1% of all the Earth's water is available for us to use for drinking, agriculture, manufacturing, and more. That is a small amount of water that we constantly waste and take for granted. We constantly pollute and damage the water that we have so little of in the belief that we have plenty more. Not to mention, over a billion people don't even have access to clean, safe drinking water. So what happens if we continue to go on like this? Well, it is estimated that by 2050, if we don't do anything about this water crisis, then over half of the world's population won't have access to safe drinking water. But there's good news. We can do something about it. Do you know who Salva Dut Eric is? Well, if you don't, he is a boy from southern Sudan who spent many years in a place where the water supply is very slim, thus making it that much more important to him and his people. He has been creating many new water wells for places throughout the world that don't have access to clean, safe water. This is just one way of how many ordinary people are doing extraordinary things to help with this water crisis around the world. Many farmers use drip irrigation, which is an agricultural technique that allows them to use pipes that are close to the ground so that water is not wasted. They also use new technological advances that allow them to know when they need to water their crops and how much water they need to use. And I know that many of you aren't farmers, but there are ways that you can help too. You can help by simply taking shorter showers or drinking all the water that you have in your water bottle and many other ways. Water also plays a big role in soil. Soil is one of the 4 things that we cannot live without, as well as water. Soil helps to grow things that we need or use for our everyday lives. This includes food, clothing, office supplies, and more. But we continue to damage it and misuse it. Have you ever heard of the Dust Bowl from back in 1930? Well, that occurred due to the lack of nutrients in the soil, which then turned the topsoil to dust and caused it to erode and get blown around by the wind, which caused dust storms. This is just one example of many times in history that we have damaged soil and therefore caused ourselves harm. And trust me, if we continue to destroy it, it will continue to cause natural disasters. But you can do something about it. The roots of a plant help to hold soil together, which helps the soil to hold more water. This means less runoff water and less soil is wasted. So a simple thing that you can do to not only conserve soil, but also water, is that you can plant more trees, bushes, flowers, really any plant. Soil and water, when put together, can be life-saving, but if it is not cared for correctly, then it can cause many natural disasters. A mudslide is an example of a natural disaster that is caused when there is a severe amount of rainfall that causes soil and rocks on hills to turn to mud and slide down the hill at a rapid speed. If we planted more trees, bushes, and other plants, then mudslides would be less common and the soil would also be much healthier. So I have a final question for everyone. Are you going to go home and be more aware of how much water you use in a day and how many things in your household were made of soil? Well, I hope you take my advice, and the answer is yes. Thank you.
All right, Sheila.
Imagine a world where every morning you have to wake up very early and walk miles just to get 1 bucket of water. Imagine as you're walking back, you trip and you fall, and some of the water spills out of the bucket. Once you do make it back to your house, you look into the bucket and you see that it's half empty due to how much you spilled. And now you have to go back again later because you didn't get enough to provide for your family. We are very lucky that we have water all around us. Most of us can go to our sink, refrigerator, or any faucet in our home and we will have water very quickly. But some people don't have that. Some people have to walk miles just to get an essential substance that we need to live. We only have access to less than 1% of the world's water. The other 99% is trapped in the atmosphere, glaciers, and oceans. And part of the less than 1% that we have access to is unobtainable. As of right now, approximately only 2.2 billion people have access to clean drinking water. And according to seametrics.com, around 40% of the lakes in America are too polluted for swimming, fishing, and aquatic life. Every year, 1.2 trillion gallons of untreated sewage, stormwater, and industrial waste are dumped into U.S. waters. We also overuse a lot of our water. Some people overuse groundwater, which causes wells to dry up. Water is also necessary for us to grow crops and provide for our families. Now imagine you're a farmer, and your livelihood depends on you growing crops so you can provide for your family and animals. But you haven't been able to do that lately due to a long drought. And you can't feed your cattle, and you can't make money to provide for your family. So you have to find other ways to make money. We are also extremely lucky that we have places to go and buy produce, and even just go to a place and order food from a restaurant. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get those products, and some people's lives are completely dependent on the soil. Some people pollute the soil by littering, whether it be a plastic bag or a tin can. The plastic can clog the soil's pores, and the roots of the plant can die. A type of plastic called chlorinated plastic can seep through the soil into the groundwater and lead to a well where people may drink it. The cause of the human effect on soil is that we are taking plants like flowers and trees to build hotels and other buildings, and then the soil has less support. And that can lead to erosion. And due to global warming, some places are getting more water than they need, and some places are getting less water than they need. Countries like Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Uganda, Liberia, and Sudan are examples of countries that suffer from droughts and have places that are too dry for them to grow water. On the other hand, Monaco, the Netherlands, and some Rhine are examples of countries that suffer from flooding and too much water. Leading to my next point, why water and soil are connected. We need water to water the plants, and the animals eat those plants, and we eat the plants or animals. But if the soil is infested and the water is polluted, then we won't have anything to eat, and the plants will have nothing to eat because the animals will have nothing to eat because the plants cannot thrive. Soil and water are vital things that we need to live, and future generations need to live. So please take care of these natural resources. You can help save water by taking shorter showers. According to the CDC, the average human takes around 8 minutes to take a shower. But I know there are people out there who like to take 15-minute showers, so if you are one of them, please try to take a shorter one. You can even do smaller things, like checking to see if your water is running when you're not using it, because if it is, you could put up your bills, and you could be wasting water. Without soil, we wouldn't have plant life, and plants are vital to our survival. So you can help protect the soil by having a composter, planting flowers and trees around your home or other places to help prevent erosion, or even start your own garden. Farmers keep their plants covered and have plants growing year-round, which prevents erosion, and they reduce a farming practice known as tilling, which also causes erosion. Farmers also switch out plants, which increases nutrients in the soil. To sum everything up, water and soil are connected, and if one gets polluted, the other one will eventually get polluted as well. Aldo Leopold once said, "Land is not merely soil, it's a fountain of energy flowing through a circuit of soils, plants, and animals." Thank you. Thank you.
He was fine.
Do you ever just take a really long shower, maybe about 15, 20 minutes? You probably didn't think about how much water you just used. Well, if you just took a 15-minute shower, you just used 75 gallons of water during your shower. That water could have been used for you to flush your toilet, irrigate your crops, or even to drink, but instead, it all got wasted because you wanted to take a really long shower. Water conservation is when you use water efficiently to reduce unnecessary water usage. Clean water is a non-renewable source. The United States Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, states that water that is used for leaching or flushing can be reused for irrigation and showering. The whole world has a certain amount of water that we can use in a day, and sometimes we use tomorrow's water just to get through today. 97% of all the water on Earth is too salty for everyday use, such as drinking and irrigation. Only 0.1% of all the water on Earth is good to use for everyday things, such as drinking, irrigation, showering, or washing dishes. As the population grows on Earth, so does the water use. So that means that we have to play our part in water conservation and use less. By 2024, which is just 2 years away, 40 out of the 50 states are anticipated to have a water shortage, and by 2030, all 50 states' water usage is supposed to grow by 40% in the whole world. There's more pressure on water resources now than there has ever been because of a lot more virtual water, which is the water that is used to create, manufacture goods, produce food, and make energy is being used in the whole world. This is because everyone has forgotten about how important water is, and people are not thinking about how hard life will change without water. Soil conservation is a practice used to protect the soil from degradation. We cannot live without our soil. The EPA states that soil is a living and life-giving natural resource. Soil filters the water we drink. More organisms are in a teaspoon of soil than all the people on Earth. As the population grows and the food production demand rises, it is essential that our soil is healthy and productive. According to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, if we continue to degrade the soil at the rate that we are now, we could run out of topsoil in about 60 years. There are many positive and negative ways on water and soil usage. Ways that are positive are composting or adding nutrients to the soil, conserving water, recycling water, and even raising worms. Some negative ways are land management, the overusage of both water and soil, compacting the soil, and polluting water and soil is very harmful. Mining is very bad as well, but one of the most harmful things is land degradation. Only 7.5% of the whole world is soil, so we have to conserve the little bit that we have left. 40% of all the soil that is used for agriculture-related things is either considered degraded or extremely degraded. If we continue to degrade the soil at the rate that we are now, then we will only have 60 more years of topsoil. The easiest and best ways to conserve water is to capture rainwater and make your own rain barrel. You can use the rainwater that you captured for drinking, flushing your toilet, showering, and washing dishes. Another way to conserve water is to capture the cold water that is too cold to take a shower with and use that to flush your toilet and irrigate your crops. The best way to conserve soil is to reuse the natural soil that you can find. You can fluff the leftover soil from another plant, and you can use the soil to plant additional vegetation. The last way I have for you to conserve soil is to crop rotate, which is when you grow different types of crops in a field in the same area across different seasons. So 100 years from now, guess what happens? There's a water shortage all over the world, and everyone is looking for water. But then you remember how you wasted 75 gallons of water because you wanted to take a long shower. Thank you.
12,000 gallons. 12,000 gallons of water is wasted in just a house of 4. And 24 billion tons of soil is being wasted per year. And we could say us humans have a problem. And this problem is getting bigger and worse at the moment. And this problem is something that us here on the East Coast would not even think about or do anything about this growing problem. And that is soil and water conservation. So I will be focusing on how we can conserve water and protect soil from erosion in your own house. In 1977, the United States Supreme Court passed an act that requires the United States Department of Agriculture to prepare a national plan for water and soil conservation for private landowners that protects the soil and water. This act could save your yard, your house, and even your life. So to start off, the #1 cause of water waste is right in your house. Inside your house, there lies one of the many problems: toilet flushing. We waste 3 to 8 gallons of water just by flushing one time. That is a big waste of water, and times that by how many times you flush the toilet. To solve this, you could switch your old toilet out with the new modern day toilet. The newer toilets save more water than the older ones. Another problem is the shower. You waste 2.5 gallons of water per minute in the shower. Just a 5-minute shower wastes 11 to 12,000 gallons of water. That is also a big waste of water. To prevent this, you could buy a low flow shower head at Lowe's or Home Depot. And the clothes washer, probably the biggest problem in the house. According to Colorado State University, the washer uses 35 to 50 gallons of water per load. Just put your washer on the lowest wash cycle or wait until you have a full load of clothes, and that could prevent 35 to 50 gallons of water down the drain. All this stuff inside the house is not even the leading cause of water waste. It's the outside. Just sprinklers use up to 25,000 gallons of water annually. According to lawnandlandscape.com, you could just create a rain barrel with a trash can and a gutter hanging out from the side of the house. You can also have less of your yard grass and replace that with rock and put some few plants and trees in the rock, and you have a water preserving yard. If you have a garden, stop using an outside spigot. And that rain barrel I just mentioned, it has a use now. All that water in the rain barrel can be used for watering the garden and not wasting the water from the ground. And the next problem is soil erosion. A person wastes 3.4 tons of soil per year and 24 billion tons of soil for the whole world. So we could say soil erosion is a big problem too.
So first off, construction sites are a big cause of this. They clear out trees, grass, and pine needles covering the ground and preventing that exact soil from erosion. But they clear all that out and nothing to protect the soil, and when it rains, runoff happens. And that rain catches up with the soil and takes off with it, and soil erosion happens. This can happen in our own yards too. What is it and where is it? According to landscapewaterconservation.org, they say soil erosion happens in bare spots in yards and cleared out areas without any grass, mulch, or pine needles. So when it rains, the rain catches the soil and rolls off with it into animals' homes, creeks, ponds, and habitats, and messes up the animals' homes or habitats. We can prevent this, and now. To do so, you can plant grass seeds or put mulch and native flowers or rocks that can prevent soil erosion. These plants, rocks, and seeds can help a lot. They can protect the soil and prevent the soil from erosion. You can also put plants that are native to the area, and that can make your soil be more stronger and make soil erosion less a problem. If you have a garden, you can rotate your crops every year. That will help with the wind erosion and put more minerals and organic matter in the soil. One bad thing about the gardening is that most people are doing is tilling. Tilling the soil makes the soil have a greater chance of wind erosion and water erosion. We all need to act now to save water and soil. Us humans all together use 80 to 100 gallons of water per day, and for a month is 12,000 gallons. For a house of 4 and 24 billion tons of soil per year. Right now, we can say water and soil is yours for life, but can we in the future? It all depends if we act now. Thank you.
The American singer Richard Hall once said, "Could you look into an animal's eyes and say, 'My appetite is more important than your suffering'?" Well, I for one could not. My family and I are 100% vegan. That means no animal products, no meat, no eggs, no milk. Now, you might be thinking, what does being vegan have to do with saving water and soil? Well, let me tell you. In doing this somewhat simple diet, I'm saving millions of animals' lives, thousands of gallons of water, and acres of land that are being cut down for meat production factories. There's a twist, though. I eat vegan meat, vegan eggs, and drink vegan milk, all of which are made from plants. Now, you might be thinking, but if all that stuff's made from plants, don't those take gallons of water to grow? Well, you're not wrong, but it takes more water to grow feed for an animal, water for it to drink, bathing, producing the meat, and cleaning the slaughterhouse than it does to grow plants. The chicken eggs that you eat for breakfast, well, I don't eat them. Instead, I eat just egg, which uses mung beans to make the eggs. Throughout the whole process of making one egg, it takes around 1 gallon of water, compared to a chicken egg that takes around 50 gallons of water. And that's for the whole process of producing it, which includes growing feed for the chicken, water, bathing, and cleaning the chicken house. But there's more. Just egg uses 86% less land, or 13,020,000 acres per year, compared to a chicken farmer which uses 93 million acres per year. They also create 93% fewer carbon emissions. So not only am I saving water and land, I'm also saving the air. Just egg has more protein than a real egg, no cholesterol, and no artificial flavors. Chicken farmers can produce up to 1.4 trillion chicken eggs per year. That's 93 million acres of land and 51 billion gallons of water. I also don't eat any type of meat, but I'm not missing out. Beyond Meat is just one alternative, and it saves water, animals, and more. Beyond Meat produces 90% fewer greenhouse gases than any meat factory. It takes 99% less water to produce the meat, 93% less land, and 46% less energy. Think of all the water going back into the earth. That 1 pound of chicken that made your family's dinner can contain up to 500 gallons of water just to be used at one meal. That hamburger you love can contain 460 gallons of water through the whole process of producing it. Then think if your whole family gets one. That can easily be 920 to 2,300 gallons of water in just one meal. Instead of drinking cow's milk, I have almond milk, soy milk, and oat milk. Oat milk is a good alternative because oats are a cover crop. That means they help to replenish the soil and give back to the earth. They also take less water to grow than almonds, so it saves water. So I also drink Silk almond milk, which uses 64% less water than a half-gallon carton of cow's milk. They're also actively trying to restore groundwater recharge in California. They also support Change the Course, which help to protect the ecological health in the Colorado River Basin. Silk's milk, yogurt, and creamer containers are all recyclable. They even have instructions on the back to keep them out of the landfill and oceans so they don't threaten marine life. I also drink Silk soy milk. Soy milk is made from soybeans, and soy milk takes 72% less water than cow's milk. Factory farming in the U.S. has polluted as many as 145,000 rivers and streams. They produce up to 300 million tons of animal manure every year. That's 3 times more than waste produced by humans. And what do you do with all that waste? They store it in lagoons or open-air lakes filled with manure. They can be fatal to anyone who lives near a factory farm. They also pollute the air. And it's not just happening in the USA. In the Amazon rainforest, trees are going down at a surprisingly fast rate. Between 1970 and 2016, the size of the rainforest has decreased from 1.6 million square miles to 1.3 million square miles. And it's not just to make money. The rainforest is known as the lungs of the earth, cleaning almost all of the air that we breathe. And it's being burnt down to raise the cattle that could be in your next burger. It rips the nutrients out of the soil and makes it easier for it to erode. What will we do in a decade when we can't step outside without wearing a pollution filtering mask? So, in conclusion, being vegan helps the environment. It saves gallons of water every single day. In just one meal, just one person can save hundreds of gallons of water. In the world, around 79 million people are vegan. Think of all the water, air, and soil that are being protected every minute. Also, everything's made from plants. The plants clean the air and help to restore the soil. So next time you pick up a burger, think of all the water, soil, and pollution that was created while making that burger. Thank you.
You guys, a big round of applause. It's nerve-wracking, I know, and then having to deal with a mask does not help matters any at all. You all had some wonderful things that you did in your presentations, and we enjoyed listening to all of them, but we're being forced to make a choice. So here are our choices. Our number 1 is speaker number 2. So will you step forward, please? Okay. And our number 2 is speaker number 6. There you go. And our number 3 is speaker number 5. All right, there we go. There's our 1, 2, and 3, and the others of you, again, you did a great job. Keep coming back, because I understand now you get to come back through 12th grade. You would be able to polish skills a lot in that length of time, and that would be awesome for you.
All right. So the top 3, well, actually, go ahead and introduce yourselves, who you are. So that they the judges will.
My name is Debbie Foster, and I jokingly say I come here for 2 different reasons. One, I taught communication skills at the college level for over 30 years, so that definitely factors into some of my scoring and decision making. But 2, I'm a crazy environmentalist, so I now have a podcast called the Backyard Naturalist that you can listen to, and you'll find some very common denominators to the things that you guys were talking about today. I'm a Central Carolina's Master Naturalist, an Audubon Ambassador. I held a certificate in Native Plant Studies from UNCC, so I do those things that you guys were talking about today. All those things are really important to me, and I applaud you for starting it at a much younger age than I did.
I'm Kelly Sifford. I'm the Planning and Development Director for the county, so the Soil and Water Division is part of our department. So we are kind of more the enforcement side of environmental issues, so we're kind of enforcing buffers for streams and water bodies and things like that. So that's kind of how we're involved with it. And my experience with public speaking is at work.
Hey, I'm Mitchell Hagar. I'm a former college English teacher. I grow daylilies. I have about 600 different kinds of daylilies. I'm a master gardener, and that's about all.
All right. So, our top 3, we're going to have you go get your families. Don't tell them what place you're in. Just say I'm in the top 3, okay? And they can come back in here, and we're going to award your certificates in front of them, okay? If you'll give me your numbers as you leave. And then the rest of you are going to have a conversation with the judges for just a couple minutes while they're going to get their families, okay? I'll say that. Just so parents and students know, because I don't think I actually introduced myself, I'm Tammy Remsburg. I'm the one that's been sending you all the emails. And I will be sending you more later on because our top 3 and their families are going to be invited to our picnic at Franklin Park on May 19th. So I'll be sending something out beginning of April and probably only have about a week turnover on RSVPs. I might send it out a little earlier. But we hope you can join us there. And when you're there, you will actually get the real certificate. What we're giving you tonight is kind of your hold-in because there was no way to put names on them ahead of time. So you'll get your real certificate as well as your cash that you've won as a prize. And our first place public speaker will go on to our area competition where that person can also win more cash and more certificates. And then first place there goes on to our state competition for a chance for more money. And what I was telling them was starting next year, our public speaking contest is going to go all the way from 6th grade to 12th grade. So they'll be able to continue this if they thought it was a good experience. And hopefully they got great feedback from the judges. And hopefully they will continue to improve and do even better. So we are going to add that in so that they can continue to participate. All right? So this is Kelly Sifford. She's the department head for soil and water as well as planning and development. And she is going to give out their certificates as I call their names. So 3rd place was Connor Ballard. All right. And the judges worked really hard tonight, guys, to come up with the winners. They really did, because they were all really good. 2nd place is Whitney Johns. And 1st place is Peyton Boss. All right, and you want to get one of all? Three of them together? Thank you. If you guys will just stand together for a second.
Smile behind those
That's right.
Hold your certificate off.
Got it?
One more.
All right, and if you guys would like to talk to the judges and get some feedback, especially Peyton, so that you know what to improve going forward, they're here to talk to you for a few minutes. And parents, thank you for coming and waiting in your vehicles. That was just the best way to do it, so we do appreciate you letting us do it so that they can actually have a live in-person experience. Last year on the computer was not a good way to do it.
No, it was not.
it
was
wasn't
not.
Very good. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for giving the support to them to do this. This is great. They all did a great job. It was really hard making a decision. We had a lot more trouble than normal. Usually there's one person that just seems to stand out. All of them did a great job. So great job. Keep working hard. And if you want to talk to us and get feedback, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, thank you for coming.